International papers. Going to start in South Korea, aren't we? Papers marking the first anniversary of the ferry disaster there.
That's right. Emotions are still really running high a year after that ferry disaster. I pulled out a couple of articles. First of all, the Ilbo focusing on the situation a year later, so 1 year after the Sewol ferry that was overloaded and illegally redesigned sank off the southwest coast of South Korea. Now remember, 304 people were killed, mostly students, and 9 bodies are still unaccounted for.
And the disaster anniversary is rather heating up, isn't it, as a big political issue now?
Absolutely. Several editorials are very upset today. I pulled out the first one from Korea Times. It says that this anniversary is an occasion for collective remorse, and it really lashes out against the President Park Geun-hye, for her and her administration. Now, it says that in 1 year, Korea has changed very little. Victims' relatives are still gripped with grief, and people hardly feel safer. Now, worse still, those that were responsible for causing the disaster, whether directly or indirectly, whether they're politicians, bureaucrats, or business people, all these people are only focusing on trying to make the new nation move on. Now, this editorial criticizes the president for one thing in particular, and that's taking so long to actually give a green light to retrieve the sunken ferry. Now, another editorial, this time the Chosun Ilbo, also focuses on this and says this operation is going to be expensive, it's going to be complicated, but it could help the surviving families gain closure, whereas if it's left at the bottom of the ocean, well, it will leave social and political discontent simmering. And you can see the headline here. It's saying it's time to put the ferry tragedy behind us.
Now, papers also continuing to react to the Obama administration's announcement back on Tuesday, it was, that it is going to remove Cuba from the State Department's list of state sponsors of terrorism.
That's right. Yesterday we were looking at the articles that were in favor of this move. Let's look at those that are against it today. The Wall Street Journal, conservative U.S. paper, calls it another gift for Castro. President Obama is continuing his unrequited courtship with the Castro brothers. Now, the White House says that Cuba has nothing to do with terrorism, but the editorial says, what about the members of the Basque terrorist group ETA that are currently residing in Cuba? And the article reminds readers that Spain, one of the U.S.'s strong allies, is actually hoping that these warming relations with Cuba will lead to their extradition.
And you pulled out a piece from the Daily Beast as well, haven't you, which is also very critical.
That's right. This article also says that Havana is harboring dozens of terrorists, including several Americans. And I like one of the quotes from this article. It says that Havana is like the Star Wars cantina. Now, one of the most prominent figures in this rogues gallery is a woman named Joanne Chesmard. She's actually the godmother of the late rapper Tupac Shakur. She was a member of the Black Panther and a distinguished member of the FBI's most wanted terrorist list, according to the article. Now, in 1973, she participated in the execution-style killing of a New Jersey state trooper. She was in jail. She escaped from jail and then resurfaced in Havana. Now, according to the Daily Beast, she has been granted political asylum there, and it doesn't seem like her extradition is coming anytime soon.
Going to stay in the US for the next story. Hillary Clinton, she's still in the spotlight, kicking off her campaign in Iowa.
That's right. Now, in her first appearance as a 2016 presidential candidate, she addressed the very thorny issue of campaign financing, and you can read about it here in the Wall Street Journal. Now, Hillary Clinton, a prodigious campaign fundraiser herself, according to the Wall Street Journal, described the U.S. political system as dysfunctional, and she said that if she were elected, she would favor a constitutional amendment to purge campaigns of what she calls unaccountable money. Now, talking about Clinton and financing, she's also in the spotlight for, this time, the Clinton Foundation. Now, she recently stepped down from the board to avoid any accusations of conflict of interest, but the Clinton Foundation is in the spotlight because, well, let's take a look at an article in Slate which describes going on. They will restrict but not eliminate foreign donations during the campaign. Now, keep in mind that the Clinton Foundation has come under fire in recent history for accepting large donations from countries like Saudi Arabia with shady human rights past. Now, according to the changes, the select foreign governments will still be allowed to donate to the Clinton Foundation. They include Australia, Canada, Germany, the Netherlands, Norway, and the United Kingdom. So a very select group there, but it's still raising quite a lot of eyebrows in the press today.
And you mentioned the UK. You got a word on the UK's election campaign. 3 weeks to go now.
3 weeks to go now. Focusing on a campaign within the campaign, actually. Let's take a look. It's in The Guardian. This is a campaign organized by the Operation Black Vote. Now, it's urging Black and Asian communities to use their votes on the 7th of May for their voices to be heard. And you can see here some very high profile. This is a actor, David Harewood. You might recognize him from Homeland. Also, former football star Sewol Campbell. If we take a look, you can see the slogan there. It says, if you don't register to vote, you're going to take the color out of Britain. And it's pretty interesting campaign. And according to The Guardian, a recent survey, a survey after the 2010 general election actually, put the turnout rate for white voters at 67%, but only 51% for non-white voters. So their vote really does count, and maybe this campaign will make a difference.
Yeah, that looks like Sewol Campbell there. I think it's Sewol Campbell underneath the makeup. Good idea for a campaign anyway. Thanks a lot, Flo. Flo and Stephen, of course, here on France 24 every day.